that have been presented, because it's always a learning experience. The more you see, the more you learn. What I'll talk about is the orbital masquerades. We all know that orbital disease generally present with these conditions. You have displacement or proptosis of the eye, you have visual disturbances if the optic nerve is involved, you have pain usually if there is an inflammation, rarely in malignancies. You have disturbance of eye movements if the muscles are involved or the nerve supplying the muscles are involved. You have inflammation which presents with swelling, redness and tenderness, and you can also have a mass lesion which is visible and palpable. So I'll ask you a few questions. Now, which is the commonest cause of proptosis in adults? Bilateral proptosis. Okay, which is the commonest unilateral proptosis in adults? That's also thyroid eye disease. And which is the commonest cause in children? It's usually an inflammation. It's orbital cellulitis. Which is the commonest primary orbital malignancy in the elderly? Someone above 60, the commonest malignancy that you encounter in the orbit. I can't hear you. Yeah, lymphomas. And in children? Rhabdomyosarcoma. Very good. So this is where we are going to start off from. This is a young boy, 17 years old, presenting with an orbital inflammation for a duration of about a month. So it started with nasal bleeding and discharge, and then present with an orbital inflammation. And if you see his scans, you see that there is involvement primarily of the how do I operate this? Okay, if you see there's primary involvement of the sinuses, so the ethmoidal as well as the maxillary sinus, and involvement of the orbit as well. So which is the best way to go for a biopsy? It's from the nasal side. So this patient was actually seen by an ENT hospital. They did a biopsy and they found fungus. So the diagnosis is very clear. It's a fungal, it's an orbital, sino-orbital mucormycosis or whatever. Okay, the fungus was very unusual, but the patient was on treatment until the eye symptoms started developing, and he came to the Eye Institute, which was LV Prasad in Hyderabad. A repeat biopsy was done, but this time from the orbit. Okay, there was a lot of necrotic material and very few cells which would indicate what the disease was. It turned out to be a very rare kind of malignancy, a natural killer T-cell lymphoma, which is very aggressive, and this boy died of intracranial extension within a week from the biopsy. Classic orbital inflammation in a child. Any comments? Brilliant. Okay, this is, if you see the CT scan, yes, it's a rhabdomyosarcoma. This was proven on biopsy. Okay. Rapidly progressive proptosis. This is a very recent case. This child is 3 years old. 10 days history. We saw him on a Saturday when his vision was 3/60. We posted him for a biopsy. We did that on Monday. He was worse. Okay, I'll show you a scan. What do you think it is? Yeah, that's exactly what I thought. Okay, so I went ahead and did a biopsy. Because it was a superior medial mass, I went for the lid split incision, and to my surprise I found there was a bluish cystic lesion lying there. Okay, this is 1.5 months after the surgery. The scar doesn't show. So that bluish cystic lesion is what was the trouble. It was a lymphangioma which had undergone hemorrhage, and I have not seen this kind of presentation where the swelling was actually progressive over a period of time. Usually it's sudden when the bleed occurs, but I have not seen a progressive condition before. Okay, orbital inflammation. We managed to open the lids and we found that the eye was very inflamed. Okay, so the thing that comes easiest to us is, because the ultrasound is right next door, is we went ahead and did an ultrasound, and you have your diagnosis there. You won't miss these calcific lesions within the eye with acoustic shadowing behind. And you know what your diagnosis is. Loudly. I can't hear you. I can't hear you. Retinoblastoma, excellent. So 4 different tumors presenting as orbital inflammation. This is a necrotic retinoblastoma where the tumor undergoes necrosis, causes a lot of inflammation, and then the eye gradually becomes thicical. So the way to treat them is actually to give them topical and systemic steroids, control the inflammation, then get the CT scan done. Otherwise, you will actually, because of the orbital inflammation, you might think that the child has extraocular extension of tumor. So control the inflammation, get the CT, and then go ahead and give the definitive treatment. This is a 17-year-old girl. She was about to appear in her boards. This swelling is there for 3 weeks. And it's confined to this area with displacement of the eye downwards and medially. Yeah, it's a lacrimal lesion, a lot of inflammation. Okay, I'll show you her scan. There's a huge mass in the lateral orbit. We did an incision biopsy. What do you think it turned out to be? This turned out to be a rhabdomyosarcoma as well. Okay. Okay, 14-year-old boy, 6 months history. This father works in the BSF. He was posted in Nagaland. And he was terribly worried that something's gone wrong with his child. The family brought him over to Calcutta and then the father flew in. Okay, 6 months history of proptosis, progressive. You have a definite lacrimal gland mass there, right? Okay. We removed the entire mass. It turned out to be a pleomorphic adenoma of the lacrimal gland, a benign lesion. So probably the parents had missed the initial signs of the disease. Okay, another lady. This is an elderly lady. Okay, she's in her late 60s. This is again a 6 months history. Proptosis, firm mass in the lacrimal fossa area. We have a CT there because I didn't want to hide it from you. There's something different from the previous scan. If you see the previous scan, see what is happening here. If you see this scan, see what is happening here. What do you see? You see bony erosion, and that points towards a malignancy. And she had adenoid cystic carcinoma of the lacrimal gland. Okay, look at this. Fat prolapse, acute dactyl cystitis. Okay, the thing that was problematic was the displacement of the globe upwards. So he had a lesion in the floor of the orbit. I shouldn't have shown you the scan, I'm sorry. But this was a rapidly progressing lesion again. And this turned out to be a diffuse large B-cell lymphoma, which is an aggressive kind of lymphoma. And he responded very well to treatment. It's been 5 years since he's been treated and he's still alive, without systemic or local disease. Okay, this is a middle-aged lady who presented with what? It's very clear to you, right? She has ptosis. And if you see the inferior scleral show, it's the same on both sides. She also had a little limitation of movement of the eye upwards. Okay. And she was treated as a patient suffering from cysticercosis. And she wouldn't get better. So they got a CT scan done for this patient. And they found that there was a lesion in the LPS muscle. And on systemic examination, she was found to have a lump in the breast. And this is what it was. It was a metastatic CA breast presenting as a ptosis. Okay, this gentleman is only 40 years old. He has been having recurrent proptosis over the last 8 years. He would be given systemic steroids and he would respond very well, with his proptosis going away completely. What do you think is the diagnosis? Excellent. Pseudotumor. Going away completely, except for the fact that he had a small residual lesion in the superior-medial orbit. That was his complaint. But a disease that responds so well to steroids and keeps coming back, you have to be alert. Okay? And look at the lesion. So you have a lot of soft tissue disease in the orbit around the globe. And what is interesting is the way it is molding around the eyeball. And that is a very pathognomic sign of a particular malignancy. It's an orbital lymphoma. Okay, and that was proved on biopsy. He underwent systemic workup. It was found to have only one side disease. It was only in the orbit. So he was given orbital radiotherapy. But that is the definitive treatment for this. But he would remain on follow-up for the rest of his life because there's a 30% chance that the disease could come back systemically. So this is one of the low-grade lymphomas, which is why these patients survive for a long time. They keep coming back, and the diagnosis is also often delayed. Okay, this is another middle-aged lady with rapid onset of symptoms. So this her history is about 3 weeks, inflammation, eyeball turned upwards, and with chemosis. Okay, and you have this lesion here again, inflammatory in presentation. Okay, what do you think it could be?
Metastasis.
You're great. Okay, this is exactly what it was. It turned out to be signet cell carcinoma. Signet cell carcinomas are adenocarcinomas which usually arise from the GI tract. Okay, okay, next one. 6-year-old boy. 3 years history, he was playing, he got hurt, and he had red eye on the left side. And he was seen by a colleague of mine on an evening and said, I want you to see because he also has a little bit of puffiness in the eyelids. I have not seen a pseudotumor like this before. Okay, any guesses? So you have fullness of the lids. There's actually palpable lesions there. You have subconjunctival hemorrhage, which is also there in the eye, which is not hurt. Okay. Now because he had these palpable lesions, we got 3 things done. I work in a multi-speciality hospital where everything is very close by. So we sent him for a blood test. We sent him down for a CT scan and put in Tropicacil Plus drops while we were waiting for all these things to happen. And he comes back an hour later. I'll show you what comes. This is his fundus picture. Okay? Superficial hemorrhages with pale centers. Alright. Number 1. Number 2. Orbit, he's got bilateral orbital masses. But before this boy actually came back from the CT, we had got a call from the hematologist. Okay, his WBC count was 24,000. What do you think it is? So this was an acute myeloid leukemia. Another child, she is 3 years old. 3 years old, came with ecchymosis and proptosis. The proptosis was on the left side, and you see all the subcutaneous hemorrhage right across the lids as well as the face. She also has hemorrhage on the other side. And this is what a CT scan showed. She has orbital mass here. She's got an orbital mass on the other side as well, which extends on either side of the greater wing of the sphenoid, including the temporal fossa. Okay. Yes, it is a neuroblastoma, and she had this huge mass in the abdomen, and you see what has happened to the liver. The liver is being compressed and displaced away. This girl is still alive. Okay. This is something that we keep seeing. This patient had been treated for this red conjunctival, this red episcleral lesion for the last 2 years with topical steroids, and the redness would reduce, the swelling would reduce, and it would keep coming back. So something that responds to steroid. The problem was he's been diagnosed with episcleritis oblique scleritis, and he never complained of pain. He always had a dull feeling there. He could make out that there's a lesion there because every time he would blink, he could feel that there's something in his eye. So painless scleritis, I mean, that does not happen, does it? What do you think it is? So 2 years later, what happened is this gentleman lands up in the clinic of a general ophthalmologist who said, this looks like a salmon patch. Okay, and sent this patient across for a biopsy. And what we found is that he had a little bit of proptosis as well, with a little bit of restriction of his eye movement. And this is what his scans show. He's got thickening of the lateral rectus muscle. He's got some kind of a soft tissue lesion which is extending into the orbit, involving both the lateral as well as a little bit of the superior rectus muscle. And as Roshni said, this is a lymphoma. This is again a low-grade lymphoma, a MALT or an EZML lymphoma that I showed you earlier. Okay, last 2 pictures. Patients presenting with red eye and inflammation. What do you think is this? Think out of the box. Every horrible presentation does not have to be a malignancy, but you need to keep it in mind. What did he say? You said thyroid. How many people agree with her? Such a horrible presentation. 1, 2 out of a hall of 25 to 30 attendees. Okay, this is an acute inflammatory manifestation of thyroid eye disease. Okay. He also had severe restriction of eye movement. He had exposure keratopathy in the left eye. Last patient for you. Patient comes with a red eye for 3 months duration. He had an accident. Okay, he has IOPs of 28 in the right eye. His eye movements are slightly restricted and his vision is down to 612. I'll show you a close-up. I beg your pardon? What fistula?
AV fistula?
Not an AV, you are getting very close.
Yes.
Yes, it is a fistula. And here what you need to remember is just put your hands on the eye. Okay, there are several hints you will get here. Put your hands on the eye, you may get pulsatile proptosis. You will be able to feel the pulsation. Sometimes when it's not a very high flow fistula, okay, you'll be able to make out when you're doing an applanation tonometry. You'll see the Mayas really swinging. Okay, instead of getting the gentle swing that you see with normal pulsation, you'll see a rather more exaggerated swinging of the Mayas. And this is a caroticocavernous fistula. So that's all I have for you. To wind up, malignant tumors in the orbit have a very protean presentation, which causes which actually misleads most of us clinicians. And you need to be aware of all the other possibilities and keep a low index of suspicion, which will help you to come to an early diagnosis. This is the god Proteus. He's a Greek god of the sea. He was infamous because he would always change form so that his worshippers would never get his blessings. Thank you.